Hey everybody, Mary Z back here once again for Voice Hacks. Today I wanted to address the issue of auditions. Have you ever wondered why you didn't get the part at the audition, or what the difference was between you and another vocalist? Why did they get the part? Sometimes you think, well, I actually can do things that vocalist can't, and that might actually be factually true. You might have a higher range or something like that you thought would put you over the edge. What is it that makes one person's audition stand above another? Today, I'm going to tell you how to nail your vocal audition and how to get more of those gigs that you're looking for. Sometimes my vocal clients and students will send me a video or a recording that they plan on using for an audition, for sending in for a band. Sometimes I have to deliver them some harsh realities about the quality of that video, or some of the things that the band will immediately notice that will put them further down the line and out of the range of possibly getting that gig. They will be sort of discounted for making some of these mistakes, even if they are a good vocalist, and I might know that from lessons, but the people you're auditioning for only know you from your audition video. They don't know, but I can do this, but I can do this on another day, but my voice teacher says this, blah, 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 blah. When you're doing an audition, especially by video where they can't even meet you, you've got essentially one chance to nail it. So let's go over these tips. First one that I find very, very essential is rhythmic entrances. Even if you're a harsh vocalist where there's not a whole lot of actual pitch or singing, especially if you're a harsh vocalist, actually, you need to learn the parts of the song that you don't sing, meaning you need to learn how many bars there are between each of your screaming or singing parts. You want to be really tight on when the vocals come in and go out and come in on beat. If you have trouble figuring that out, that's something you should probably work out with a vocal coach or a musician friend before you ever send the audition in. If you want to nail things live, it's a lot of counting, especially if you're in like a progressive metal band. And a lot of vocalists don't do this. They just go, I know I come in sometime after the noodly part. Well, that's not going to work. Say you get a little bit further into the audition process, maybe the second round of consideration, and they invite you out to jam with the band, which again, given the current circumstances, might not happen for a while, but eventually it's going to happen. And when that happens and you're in the room playing with them, you need to be just as good as you are in a show, and you need to have your entrances memorized. You need to come in at exactly the right spot. Even if you're off a little bit in pitch in some places, this is going to make you much more accurate sounding to anybody, is being rhythmically accurate, having very timed entrances. So number 2, make sure you do the right lyrics, especially if the lyrics are in a second language. I know it can be really hard. I coach a lot of folks from all over the world, and some of you are singing in a second language and not your first language. This is a very daunting task. In classical singing, I took many semesters of pronunciation in foreign languages just to be able to do that from the opposite side. Most of you are going to find yourself singing in English, probably, if it is a foreign language. And you can memorize the words, but they're not just sounds. Imagine someone in your language making nonsense sounds instead of words. I will admit that in college, I may have made up some German lyrics for some opera songs when I forgot, but it sounds like nonsense. It doesn't sound... Just because it's a foreign language to you doesn't mean it's not a language. It's a language that has meaning. The words have meaning, and it will sound like gibberish if you use gibberish. So please make sure you actually learn the words. One thing I saw was on a Turkish Idol show. A girl tried to do I Can't Live Without You by Mariah Carey, and she actually did not know the English lyrics, so she was just singing the similar syllables, basically, similar sounds with the right notes. And that completely discounted her. She could have been the best singer in the world, but you're not actually singing the words. So you have to make sure that even if it's harsh vocals or something, that you actually really have the lyrics tight. Don't make anything up. Don't make up gibberish words. Take it seriously. Show the people you're auditioning that you are serious about their lyrics. They might even be kind of insulted if you don't use the right lyrics. Number 3, make sure you're auditioning for things that are the right style for you and the right key. If you are not a very high-voiced person and you're trying to audition for a band for a high-voiced person, don't audition for that band. That's probably not a good idea. You are welcome sometimes to transpose things, but if a band has already written all of their music around a previous vocalist, unless you talk to them a lot and get them to lower the key, that's probably going to be a very complicated situation for them. Ideally, you would be writing original music, and because if you try to go for something that's a little too high for you, you're just going to sound poor. You're not going to sound like you could actually sound. So try to find things that are correct for you. If it's like a Broadway audition or something, you will not be able to change the key. You're going to have to do the part as written. So you should audition for parts that fit your voice type. You also have to keep in mind that just because you don't get a part at an audition doesn't mean you're never going to see those people again that you auditioned for. Doesn't mean they're not going to think of other vocalists. You want to put your best foot forward. If you send them a really gnarly recording of you singing in a key that's too high where you're messing up the notes and everything, but you just tried to go for it anyway, then they're going to remember that and they're not going to call you for anything else either. Sometimes when we're auditioning, people will put you on a list for people they might call in the future. Maybe they have some ideas for other things. I've certainly actually had this happen to myself where I couldn't do the main offer, but then I ended up being in the second band of the people. So you still want to put your best foot forward, and I just don't recommend going for things that are too stylistically out of bounds. Some situations you're going to be able to move the key. So when you audition for like an idol show or The Voice, say you send a video to them, well, that's a perfect time where you can take any composition and change the key and put the best foot forward. In fact, a lot of times when I'm watching those idol shows, I happen to notice that the key has been changed for the vocalist. So there are things like that where if you're just auditioning as a solo artist and it doesn't depend on sheet music or what the band already wrote or it's something original, definitely adjust the key. Don't try to sing in the original key just because that's what you want to do, because if you sound better, do the one that you sound better in, transpose it. Number 4, have more than one song prepared. Probably record at least 2. Whenever you do an audition, there's a high probability, if you're going to get hired, that they'll ask to see more. So this is why I always encourage my vocal students and vocal clients to start a YouTube channel with their songs on it, not necessarily to make themselves a YouTuber, but to have an online resume of vocal songs that are good, that's a nice solid collection that you can send more than one of, and you can give people an idea of what you can do. Sort of like a voice acting reel, but just a YouTube channel where you have a bunch of different singing videos and things. You don't want to be scrambling last minute. What if you're working and they need it? If nothing beats being sent a link like right away, like here you go, there it is. If you're auditioning for something, this is a contest, whether you want it to be or not. And I don't mean that in a malicious way or a competitive, like vicious kind of way. The reality is that whoever sends that second track back faster is going to get listened to sooner and get higher priority. And that's just how it works. You have to realize that there is a lot of talent in the world. And sometimes speed or your personality or the work ethic you have will put you above people that have equal talent. So be aware that if you're moving fast and you're prepared, you're going to edge yourself out over some of the competition. The next tip I have is for when you're doing a recorded audition, should you tune it? Should you tune the vocals with auto-tune? And I would say yes. You should probably try to get as close to the pitch as you can. If you are relying on the auto-tune or the Melodyne to make your vocals good, well, that's going to come out in truth. A lot of people will say, well, wouldn't that be like faking it? Not really. By the time you actually have to do recording in a studio or they have you test out demos, they're going to hear your raw vocals. So if you can't do it, you're not going to be welcome to stay in the gig and you're not going to be able to do it live. So it's not like the band or someone smart is going to take one tuned recording. It's going to come out that you can't sing. So why do I say tune it even if you can sing? Is because if you're submitting like an audio recording of a band song, that song's probably already been professionally produced somehow. And that professionally produced recording is usually tuned. And you want your vocal audition to sound professional. You may even want to send it to an engineer to mix for you because you want them to hear how it would sound on the record. You still need to be able to sing. Even when I sing things really, really well and I do 100 takes, it still gets tuned by the engineers because that's just the thing that happens nowadays. So you guys have to realize that there's no pride in that. I would tune your recordings and I would make them sound professional. People are used to listening to tuned recordings nowadays. And when we don't tune it and put that little polish on it, it actually kind of sounds out of tune to us. And if you don't think other people auditioning are going to tune it, you are also, again, mistaken. If you're singing well, the tuning is only going to change things by a few cents and sort of add a sheen to it. But people who are listening to the audition may not even be able to tell whether one recording is tuned or not, but they are going to probably pick the person who tuned the recording over the person who didn't because there's going to be something about it that they can't quite put their finger on, like a sheen or something, and that's what it is. But nevertheless, you should still be prepared to have to go in and do that live because it will all come out if you can't actually sing. The auto-tune is not going to save you very long if you can't actually do it, so you still need to be able to do it. The bottom line to all of this is extreme preparation. Preparation relieves nerves. Don't do a vocal take and convince yourself that it's better than it is. Sometimes we lie to ourselves because we don't want to have to admit that there's some work to be done yet. Sometimes you have to take a look in the mirror and say, you know, this audition isn't good enough. I could do better. I could record this a little bit better. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Prepare for your audition. Have lots of parts memorized. Have everything set in your mind. Know it cold. When you're prepared, you come across more confident, and nothing calms the nerves better than preparation. That is the best thing you can do to calm your nerves as you're auditioning, is to be as prepared as possible, to create as polished of products as you can for recorded auditions as possible, and to put your absolute best foot forward. And sometimes you need to send it to your vocal coach and ask them what they think. And if they think you need to improve it, then you should improve it, because if they see something, it's possible the band might as well. So you want to always put that best foot forward. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Thanks, guys. I hope this tutorial has helped you with some of those auditions out there. I'll see you soon with more tutorials on Voicehacks.